What's up, NBA fans? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, today, we've got something absolutely mind-blowing to discuss. If you're a fan of big moves, huge trades, and franchise-shifting decisions, then you're going to want to stick around. We're diving into a rumor that's sending shockwaves through the basketball world. Stephen Curry, yes, the two-time MVP and greatest shooter of all time, potentially leaving the Golden State Warriors for the Chicago Bulls. I know, it sounds wild. You're probably wondering, how could this even happen? But trust me, after this video, you'll have a whole new perspective on why this might be more realistic than we think. So, grab your popcorn, hit that like button, and let's get into this crazy NBA story. Stephen Curry has been the face of the Golden State Warriors for over a decade now. From his humble beginnings, playing for a team that wasn't even sure if they could contend, to turning them into the most dominant force of the 2010s, Curry's journey has been nothing short of extraordinary. He's led them to 4 NBA championships, 2 MVP awards, and countless record-breaking performances. The Warriors' success over the years has been largely because of Curry's shooting ability, leadership, and overall game-changing style of play. He's made the three-point shot the centerpiece of modern NBA offense and has single-handedly revolutionized the game. But let's face it, nothing in the NBA stays the same forever, and the Warriors dynasty, as great as it's been, is starting to show cracks. With Curry now in his mid-30s, Klay Thompson having dealt with serious injuries, and Draymond Green's future in question, the Warriors' championship window could be closing sooner rather than later. While they still have the talent to compete, the team has struggled with consistency and injuries, and with the way the Western Conference is evolving, it's not guaranteed that Golden State will win another title anytime soon. That brings us to the big question: could Curry be looking for a fresh start somewhere else? And if so, is Chicago the perfect landing spot? The Chicago Bulls have been through their own ups and downs in recent years. After the end of the Michael Jordan era, the franchise has been largely in rebuilding mode. There have been some dark years, with little to no playoff success, but recently, the Bulls have shown signs of promise. They've got a core that could make some noise in the Eastern Conference. Zach LaVine, the high-flying, versatile scorer, is a star in his own right. DeMar DeRozan, one of the most clutch players in the league, brings a much-needed veteran presence and elite mid-range scoring. And Nikola Vucevic, a skilled center who can stretch the floor and rebound, rounds out a solid core that's proven capable of making the playoffs. However, despite having some impressive individual talent, the Bulls have lacked that one true superstar who can elevate them to the next level. Curry, if he were to join this team, could be the missing piece they need. Imagine a backcourt with Curry and LaVine. The floor spacing would be ridiculous. Opposing defenses would have nightmares trying to defend both of them. Curry's limitless range combined with LaVine's athleticism and shooting ability would make them one of the most dynamic duos in the league. DeRozan would still provide that leadership and mid-range dominance in clutch situations, while Vucevic would give them a reliable post presence and three-point shooting. Not to mention, the Bulls have some promising young players like Patrick Williams, who could blossom alongside Curry, creating a balanced mix of veterans and rising stars. The potential is huge, and if this core could stay healthy, the Bulls could finally become a legitimate contender in the Eastern Conference once again. Now, let's get to the nitty-gritty. How could this actually happen? Well, Curry is under a massive contract with the Warriors. The two-time MVP is making over $50 million per year, and he still has a few years left on his deal. So, in terms of salary cap, it would be a big challenge for any team, including the Bulls, to bring him on board. But here's where things get interesting: Chicago would likely need to offer a substantial trade package to make it work. This would probably involve sending some combination of players like DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic, and possibly even a young player like Patrick Williams. The Warriors would need to get players who could contribute immediately, and they'd also likely want to gain more cap flexibility to build around a younger core moving forward. After all, the Warriors are a team that values winning now, but also knows how to retool quickly when necessary. It's also possible that Golden State might ask for some draft picks in the trade to further sweeten the deal, allowing them to reload their roster for the future. This trade would shake things up in a major way, but the Warriors might find it difficult to pass up a package that could keep them competitive while transitioning to the next phase of their team. The key factor in all of this, though, is whether Curry would even be open to leaving the Warriors. He's been synonymous with Golden State for so long that it seems almost impossible to imagine him playing anywhere else. He's built a legacy in that city, and his relationship with Klay Thompson and Draymond Green is as tight as it gets. But let's not forget, Curry is a competitor at his core. If he feels that the Warriors are no longer in a position to contend for championships and sees an opportunity to join a team like the Bulls and make a major impact, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he could decide to move on. From the Warriors' perspective, losing Curry would be a massive blow. He's their leader, their superstar, and their face. Without him, Golden State would have to figure out a way to stay competitive. Klay Thompson, while still a great shooter, has struggled to return to his pre-injury form. Draymond Green's role has evolved into more of a defensive anchor and playmaker, but he's not a guy who can carry the team offensively on his own. The Warriors do have some promising young players, like Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga, and could rely on them to take on bigger roles, but it's hard to imagine Golden State not going into a bit of a rebuilding phase without Curry. However, the Warriors have been excellent at developing talent, and they've got a good front office that could make savvy moves to keep them relevant. Still, a rebuild would likely be inevitable. For a team that's been built around Curry's unique skill set, adjusting to a new style of play would take time. They'd need to add a new star or several complementary pieces to build a team that can compete at the highest level. Losing Curry would represent the end of one of the greatest runs in NBA history, but it could also mark the beginning of a new chapter for Golden State. Now, let's zoom out a bit. What would this trade mean for the NBA as a whole? The impact would be seismic. We're talking about the greatest shooter of all time moving to a new team in the Eastern Conference, and it would instantly shake up the playoff picture in the East. The Bulls would immediately become one of the top teams in the conference. With Curry at the helm, the Bulls would have a new level of firepower, and the dynamic between him and Levine would create a two-headed monster that would be hard for any team to stop. Suddenly, teams like the Milwaukee Bucks, Boston Celtics, and Miami Heat would need to take notice. The Eastern Conference, which has been competitive for years, would now have another heavy hitter. On the flip side, this would also send a strong message to the Warriors' rivals in the West. Without Curry, Golden State might not be the powerhouse they once were, and the competition in the West would get even tougher. Teams like the Lakers, Nuggets, Suns, and Mavericks would all see a potential opening for supremacy in the West. The NBA landscape would change drastically, and the ripple effects of this trade would be felt across the league. To wrap it up, Stephen Curry to the Chicago Bulls would be a monumental shift in the NBA. It would mark the end of an era in Golden State, where Curry has been the foundation for all their success, but it would also breathe new life into the Chicago Bulls, turning them into a real contender in the East. The potential of Curry and Levine together is enough to make any fan excited, and if the trade goes through, it would be one of the most historic moves in NBA history. As always, though, we want to know what you think. Do you think Curry should leave Golden State for Chicago, or do you think this is all just a pipe dream? Let me know in the comments below. If you're excited about this news, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more NBA content. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.